I would like to ask from Dr. Ashraf Abdel Wahab, my dear friend, the General Manager of the Digital Transformation, Technological Transformation in the government. He was the former General Manager of the Technology Application in Microsoft. He was the former assistant for the local development. We are repeating the terminology technology, so please, the floor is yours. Please allow me to stand up. I can't talk while I'm sitting down. Maybe because I was a professor in the university, so I'm used to this way. First of all, good morning, everybody. Peace be upon you. It's not 12 yet, so good morning. Maybe because I worked in the government before, and I worked in technology, in multinational technology companies, and at the same time, I am an engineer at the end, or I was an engineer, and I am a professor in the smart intelligence. So this combination is a little bit strange, but actually I'm not going to talk about my history, and I'm not going to talk about the governments because they are all my friends. I will say only one word about the government, but at the end. So the government is playing a big role in the digital transformation, and as we said before, the digital transformation, there are lots of, this terminology has lots of talks around it. So I want to ask you some questions, and I want you to frankly answer. The first question is, did you use Uber or Karim today? Uber and Karim, what do they sell? What is the service? They sell service. What is the kind of service? No, he is selling information. He knows nobody. Maybe he knows the driver because the driver will get his commission, but at the end he knows nobody. But at the end, you are the one responsible for evaluating and assessing the driver. He is just like managing some information which is available through what? The mobile. The mobile is the tool that gather our information with our own satisfaction. Do you have any objection? No. So the information is the petrol, is the money. Why? Throughout this information, I can know the users, my users, that they buy my products. They love what, they don't love what, they like what, they don't like what. If I sell them a certain product with a certain way, how will they how they will like this? So I have to benefit from these information that I am collecting. From where? 100 resources. Customer service are on social media. Customer service, they move from one place to another. The information of the customers are available electronically. So I can collect this information and I can do a kind of insights or to apply smart intelligence. So I'm very happy that we are applying smart intelligence on these information. So at the end, I have a profile. I have insights on the customer's rule. What are the problems of the customers? What they would like to fix? Are they satisfied with the service? Are they satisfied with the products? So the companies, they feel this way when they found out that the information with that the information will disrupt or will have business models to disrupt the normal or the ordinary business. So who is the most affected sector negatively from Uber? Taxi drivers and the people who sell cars. Now, you think many times before buying a new car. and why Uber is now thinking of renting cars that you can drive it by yourself. Throughout establishing the EUT, I can assess and evaluate the car and to know the directions, to track the car if it needs maintenance or not. So the ecosystem should be there. This is the future. This is how people are thinking. The models, the business models that we know now are changing. Even the governmental models are going to change. Another question. There is a company that sells sports clothes, and it's very famous in the USA. It's not Nike. Another one. Yes, it's an American company. It's not Puma. This company, they do T-shirts, sport shoes, shorts. They are thinking now that this business, I'm selling clothes. At the end, I'm selling clothes. No, they think about selling health products. So what is the relation? I can know the information of the person that he did wear the T-shirt or the short, his condition while he was running, while he was doing some sports, throughout his mobile, throughout a watch that he is wearing. The temperature of his body, the amount of sweat, and then I start following up with him, and I give him products for free, but by subscribing in the health service. So, at the same time, my business model is changing. So now I'm not only selling T-shirts, I'm also selling the health service. I have a call center, I have a chatbot, which is the assistance intelligence. I have doctors, professors, I have professional people. This is one of the differences between automation and digitalization. I don't think about how to improve this matter. No, I think about what are the needs of my customers. What is the service? What is the real service that I actually provide to the customers, and how to improve this service using certain tools. Yes, I'm working on selling sports cloth, but now I have an additional revenue throughout selling health services. Again, the efforts that are exerted by the government are very remarkable, and I see it. And here I would like to mention something that the government, I don't mean the cabinet, the way of thinking is going to change. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking about changing the cabinet. No, I'm not talking about changing the ministers. No, I'm talking about changing the way of thinking. Why? Because now they are trying of, according to the work that is done by the Ministry of Communication and the Ministry of Planning, to have a kind of information networks that I'm trying to reach the majority of the people and providing them services. So, for example, the program of Dr. Ghada Wali, the Minister of Social Solidarity, they knew the women of the program, which is called Two Kifaya, Tnin Kifaya. They knew the women that they are going to visit. They were million women, and Tnin Kifaya, it means two are enough in order to spread the awareness in the families not to have more than 2 children. I did not mention any numbers, actually. At the same time, the government itself will be a kind of a behind desks. Its role is to organize innovation when we talk about digitalization. So on the other side, so we are talking about innovation. Governments are not only thinking about only digital transformation, but as a kind of enabling innovation that will produce new thoughts, new ideas for new products and new revenues, which can lead to an improvement and development in the society. So the government will act like a behind office or a behind desk, organizing the innovation. And they will have front channels that they will deal with the people and with the society in the way that they need. The mic. Finally, the last speaker, because we would like to give to open the floor for the questions. Engineer Khaled Al-Oteify, he is working as a consultant for the financial services on mobile applications and for many multinational companies. And yeah, his master's from Netherlands. Engineer Ahmed, I wanted to say a very important thing. We focus on digital transformation. Started a year ago. The center was interested in digital transformation a year ago, and we wanted to see this happening in a correct way. So the center was interested in this field at the same time that Engineer Ahmed was focusing actually on this idea. He is actually the owner of the idea to have an Egyptian agenda, and his objectives were not only for Egypt but even for the Arab countries to have a common agenda, not only for Egypt but also for the Arab countries. And what's right, what's proper is to deal with each other and to work together. I have to thank him for his idea that we reach an agenda and we analyze the agenda and we study the agenda. It was his own idea. So Engineer Ahmed, please be more wise or be wiser than your colleagues and don't take that much time talk about the regional perspective of digital transformation. The most difficult thing is to be the last speakers, especially when I have these professors that they spoke before me. But actually I would like to tackle some points and to assure some of the points that were raised. At the end, I'm going to talk about the situation in the region, or what are my and how I see the region. First of all, what I see today, it's a civilization transformation. And these are different stages that now we are in the fourth stage, what we call it government 4. So we are now phase 4 in the transformation process. And we have the digital. There are some other phases that they are going to appear in the future. We know nothing about it. The first thing that characterizes the current phase, which is the disappearing of the ideologies. So now what we have is the shared economy, as Engineer Ashraf was talking about Uber and about Kareem. We talked about Airbnb. Now we have a concept that we have a car that it will be owned by nobody. The idea of the capital is not there anyone, but now with technology we can share everything, even our own house. We can share it with others throughout our B&B, there are some concepts that they say, why should I own a house? I can share it with other people, with the lots of changes that the human beings are facing. So the idea of the ownership, the idea, it can be the end of capitalism. So we have a new kind of economy which is called the shared economy. Parallel to this, we have an economic transformation, and the economic transformation consists of, or it depends on two factors. First of all, the extended globalization. Up till now, we don't know where this transformation is going to take us, but we have some secured regulations. There is a kind of a trade and a commercial war between the USA and China, but at the end of the new generation, they move totally different. Now we don't know how to do a digital taxation because the services are offered are done in countries, and then it's provided in other countries. So we can see that this digitalization is taking us to a new stage and to a new phase. As Dr. Ashraf said, the main fuel of the new generation is the information. In the past generations, the main wealth or the main gold was the petrol. The new idea is the appearance of and the creation of the platforms. The multinational companies all over the world are transforming. Now we have a group of companies that we expect that they will dominate the whole world in the near future. We can see in commerce, in trade, electronic trade.
We have two strong companies, Amazon and Alibaba. Alibaba, for you to know, is the company that has contributed to creating China. It was a key entrance for the modernization of China, and anyone now is using Alibaba and to identify their suppliers. So Alibaba was the biggest factor for the economic growth of China and for its commercial transactions with the whole countries of the world. And this is more a retail model. The platforms in the world are being manipulated by two countries, United States of America. 6 companies are American and 2 Chinese companies that are leading the digitalization in the whole world in different phases. We are going to see, as we have seen before, that there is a dominance in the digitalization sector. And the regulators and the banks of the banking sectors are trying to combat this, but eventually, as well, the digitalization is going to suffer from the dominance. There's another thing that's going face is the B2B platforms. For example, the vehicles and cars like Uber, we are going to have cars in the streets and platform that's controlling the cars, and they're going to be moving on their own. So people are going to subscribe in these companies. So the case now, or the situation now is totally different, and is now focusing on the transformation of the government or the concept of the government. And Dr. Abdel mentioned DAFIS that last year its key motto was the industry for, and this year it was government for. They focus on the transformation of the government. So the concept of the government as well is suffering because now the governments are citizen-centric, and this involves 2 parts. Part of the participation of the citizens in the governing process, and other part they are as consumers of the public services. And these are 2 parts that are linked, and the new revolution today is creating new forms for dealing with these 2 parts or sides. And the expectations of the new generations are totally different from the expectations of the old generations, and this causes a big and huge gap. I say that there's a digital divide and digital gap between countries, internally as well within the same country, whether they are able to access information or not. And the bigger gap is the generational gap or generations gap. So this is a third type of the digital gap. So governments have to be able to deal with these gaps. Egypt has so many challenges. The most important challenge is the inflation of the public entities. We are talking about almost 6 million public officers in public companies and public sectors. Microphone, please. With respect to affiliated companies, public entities and agencies and public sector companies, but today almost 8 million public officers. So this is a big challenge that we have to face. Maybe European countries as well have challenge that has to do with the gap generation, but we have the challenge of the producing factors. And this is the real challenge of Egypt in the future. So the transformation of the government has to depend on digitalization. Digitalization, in this morning I was reading a report of ArcelorMittal, a report, it's a survey on the digitalization in the whole world and tackles the key challenges. The most important challenge is to have a holistic approach, or a holistic methodology. The second thing, as Dr. Khalid has commented, what we call the maturity curve, or the different phases of the digitalization. We have the process enhancement step, or a development of the processes. We are working on this phase through the automation. But of course, we have to do what we call restructuring or re-engineering, and we have clear rules for the managing the changing process. So we need a comprehensive perspective so that our objectives with respect to delivering the services tackles the challenges. We are going to reduce the public officers. How we are going to do this, Engineer Ghada tackled the challenges of the new administrative capital, how we are going to transfer the employees or the public officers, and we have to as well to teach the work cycle as well. Linking this to the Arab region now needs a national and civilized project. We are missed from the map. I was reading a book when I was in the plane, Singapore, a man's view of to the world, to the future of the world. He was talking about all the regions of the world and the strengths, and he touched the Middle East in 3 pages. And unfortunately, he did not talk about Latin America at all. He was talking about the strengths, the America, for Pacific and Asia. And he's looking to us as if we are the center of trouble. This basically was the viewpoint. We are 350 million persons. We need today a new civilized project to tackle the digital gaps between countries, within the countries, and between the generations. And I think the digitalization today is paving the way for this and providing us with this opportunity. The most important thing with respect to digitalization is that it happens on so many axes: public digitalization, business digitalization, society, digitalization, individual digitalization. For the government, we have to have mechanisms, efficiency, effectiveness, governance, so that we get rid of the corruption. And these are important factors that on the short term are going to achieve results. And thank you so much.